We just heard from the CEO of the Fresno Mission saying that solving the homelessness crisis begins with bulldozing the system in California. Is converting vacant hospitals into one-stop shop shelters the answer? And that includes housing, medical services, providing jobs, and not only getting them a roof over their head, but a chance to kick addiction, abuse, and human trafficking. It all sounds like a utopia for homelessness, but is it a real-world solution? We want to bring our panel back in, Adam Gray, Nathan Magsig. So, Adam, I'll start with you. Obviously, you heard from Matthew Dildine. That's really eye-popping stuff that he said, because he said, you got to bulldoze the California system.
Yeah, I think he offers some fair criticisms, right? I think the idea of a silver bullet for homelessness is a silly one. I think there's a whole host of issues ranging from mental health, addiction issues, to a lack of housing stock in this state that actually puts pressure on folks that are in those lower income spaces. And frankly, the shelter model, I mean, we built a shelter in my hometown of Merced just a couple years ago, and oftentimes struggle to keep it full because many of the folks you're reaching out to don't want to come into the shelter, right? The fact that we've done criminal justice reform in this state in a way that has handicapped our drug courts and other efforts to help people with addiction. I just think there's a whole myriad of issues with homelessness. I think he brings up some fair criticism, and it's certainly impressive the work he's doing.
You know, and Nathan, I'll come back to you on this, talk about bulldozing the system, but also this idea of maybe converting the Madera Community Hospital into what we see at the city center.
Yeah, I will say that right now we need more hospitals, not less, in the Central Valley, and so that's a whole separate issue. I think what the rescue mission has done, they do great work, and the models that they've set up, if you take a look at people who've gone through their programs, the homeless facility they built for women and children about 11 or 12 years ago has been very successful. And so I do agree with a lot of the things that Matt had to say just about how we need to change the way that we approach homelessness. Many times politicians want to throw money at the problem, and sometimes money is not the only answer. Accountability definitely is the answer. Addiction is part of the problem, but ultimately we need to be meeting the homeless where they are. We need to identify what the issues are. There are some homeless who will never be made better, and some of them may need to be institutionalized and given the care that they need.
You know, I don't want to play the name game specifically, but, you know, you heard Newsom say it really lies on some of the local leaders. They got to be more proactive. But Governor Newsom has thrown billions and billions and billions at homelessness. So where does this start? Where does this end?
Oh, there's complete dysfunction between state, local, federal, even within a local community. Oftentimes the cities not talking to the counties, and the counties not coordinating all the cities. I think a lot of the systems around homelessness, the mental health services, the law enforcement services need to be coordinated. People need to have coordinated housing plans by county. There's just a lot of work where government needs to stop pointing fingers at each other and start working together collaboratively.
Your thoughts?
As we look at the homeless problem by the numbers, I know in 2019 in Fresno County there were about 600 homeless who were also on probation. So I look at a lot of the laws that are coming out of Sacramento that are actually contributing to the problem. So Sacramento needs to recognize that, look, if you really want to get at the issue of homelessness, you want to pass laws that aren't going to exacerbate the problem. And so, again, government is not going to solve the homeless problem. I love the Fresno Rescue Mission and what they do because they receive very little, if any, government assistance. So the work that they do and the lives that they change, they do with the generosity of the public. And so their model, in my mind, is one of the most successful. So I think we need to be doing a lot more things like the Rescue Mission approaches it than just creating more programs and spending more money.
I want to spend just a couple seconds on this. You heard Mayor Dyer say exclusively on Sunday Morning Matters he is going to chair a national task force on homelessness, that coming from his White House visit. Any advice to the mayor when he starts to chair this? task force?
Well, like I said, we got to get all levels of government working together collaboratively. Certainly the mayor's done a great job in Fresno. I'd love to see what he can do in that position, but he's taken on a big task.
I'll say I really appreciate what the mayor's done around homeless issues, especially along our freeways. But as we deal with homeless, it's much more than just housing them. There are wraparound services that are needed. And it really takes a partnership with counties, cities, nonprofits all working together. So if I could give a bit of advice, it would be to make sure that we provide those wraparound services, because if we don't, we're going to get more dysfunction.
All right, something that a lot of people are talking about, obviously this is the district that you cover, Squaw Valley. Is it Squaw Valley or is it Yokuts Valley? Because the identity crisis is happening now. We've heard that the feds have already changed the name. So what is it?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's still Squaw Valley. And for me, I represent the people of that area, and there are about 3,200 people who live in Squaw Valley, and I had an opportunity to meet with them publicly last October. I sent information out to many of those residents, and they clearly stated they don't want their name changed. The federal government has stepped in, the Department of Interior, and they've changed names on maps. And the struggle continues today. The state of California also has passed a bill, AB 2022, where they have deemed the term squaw to be inappropriate, and they're demanding that all counties change those names by the year 2025. But as of today, it's still Squaw Valley.
Your thoughts on this? Is the federal government, did it overstep?
Well, I think if we want to make progress, you got to bring everybody along. And that means working usually from the local area up. And obviously, as the supervisor said, there's been an effort with the Department of Interior to change the names on maps. There's been legislation passed at the state level, but the local community's got to be an integral part of any lasting change. Otherwise, what we're just doing is talking about a hot topic that everyone's arguing about and not really making progress.
All right, Adam Gray, Nathan Magsu, appreciate the time. Good stuff today.